Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Sara Wiseman. The title of today's program is basically something along the lines of Let's Everybody Not Panic. And it's not really about let's not panic yet. It's about taking the bigger view and taking the soul view on all the things that are happening now in the world and all the ways we worry that these might affect us. Now, it's definitely true that change is here. The change is here, the change we've been predicting for quite some time now, since at least 2012, the shift. Before that, the change is here. And we can work with astrology or tarot or channeling or psychic visioning to understand this, but we can also just look at sort of the chatter in the collective and how amped up that's become recently. Now, I myself love to watch or read some good conspiracy theory stuff. And I actually love to watch and read some really fascinating. I think there's a lot of amazing people out there who are pulling tarot cards on current situation or channeling in voice, live channeling. I think it's phenomenal. I know in my own teaching of people in different groups that I teach, we do, from time to time, we do future predicting. We do future predicting for the US, for the world, and it's fascinating what is coming up. So even with all this onslaught of information pointing to this absolute direction of massive change, this idea of the tumbling down of old structures, I want to say that just because everything's changing does not mean that you need to panic. You can sort of stop looking up, how do Americans move to New Zealand, or just all, I mean, I'm not even joking. Like that's like we're thinking, how do we get out of this? How do we get out of this? It's so crazy. And I want to read to you a little bit from some channeling I did way back. This was in maybe 2010. Some of you have looked at this book of mine, Four Passages of the Heart. So this concept, so after the 33 lessons came, the next channeling was this, the Four Passages of the Heart. It was from very similar guides to the 33 lessons, but a little bit different. And the specific teaching of this channeling series, probably 2009 or 10 is when it was done, maybe 11. The purpose of this was for us to understand a couple things. First, the heart is where the soul resides. So everything that you're receiving as a soul is you're going to know through your heart. And this makes sense. Humans have known this for a long time. We feel it in our hearts. We know it in our hearts. When we open our heart chakra, we connect with everything. Now, a lot of you guys in psychic world are working with your crown or your third eye. That's wonderful, but we also need to work with our heart. That's the portal or the passageway that humans connect one to the other. It's through this heart chakra, for lack of a better word, energy center. So the idea is that the heart, the human heart, goes through 4 different experiences. The first way we open our hearts, first of all, our heart's just numb. We're not even aware it's there. And then our hearts go through this opening into pain. Now, we all know what this is. We've all had various experiences of this. This is the first opening. And we sometimes think if we are a person who's numb, we sometimes think If I let myself go into pain, I'm just going to disappear. I'm going to dissolve. I can't bear it. It's actually not true. The first cracking open into pain and realizing what we've been feeling is a sort of a kind of relief. We are resonating with what is. A lot of us have had a lot of pain the last few years, haven't we? I don't love the pain. I don't love the heart opening into pain. I would rather armor up and not deal with that. But it's that first opening, or we talk about letting go, we talk about releasing. That's the first opening. The next opening, and this is where a lot of you are too, is we open into compassion. We're like, well, if I had all this pain and I can fully see with empathy that this other person is having all this pain, I have compassion for them. I have compassion for them. And this is where most of humanity, thanks to internet and electronica and this massive way we've been able to connect with each other, this is where most of us are. Not all of us, but we have this compassion for the other's experience. Now, when you're dealing with, I'm just going to call it like fringe elements or very immature beings, or beings who have had such trauma, political leaders who've had such trauma as children that they clamp down and refuse to open their heart. People brought up with these really false ideas of success and power and wealth as being important. Those people maybe haven't opened their hearts at all yet. Now, can they? Yes. Have they? Not yet. So sometimes they have experienced so much pain, they just can't deal with it. They shut down and what do? They turn into people that want to hurt others, or they turn into, like the common word is narcissists, or they have mental illness. A lot of things happen when you're just holding against the normal life experiences, which are some suffering. We're all going to experience some suffering. And if you just say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go on a track where I never have to experience anything deeper than just what's right in front of me: power, wealth, success, control. I'm going to control my experience so much I'm never going to feel pain. So a lot of the people that are at the forefront of the people we consider in charge of the world right now, especially in the US, this is where they are. They've got immature development, psychically and spiritually. And so, and then this idea, are these people actually in charge? And I'm going to say, no, they're not. We just sort of give our power away and think that they are. So anyway, heart of pain, we open into heart of compassion, and this is where a lot of us are now. And right now, what's also beginning to happen is this third opening, which is to heart of connection. The channeling in the Gabriel messages, which is newer, the Star Guide messages, which I don't have copies of yet, but it's out there, you can get it. Order it. All of this talks about the idea of the soul consciousness becomes consciousness of itself. We become aware of our oneness. We become aware of our oneness at the soul level. So this is where this cracking open, we've cracked open from pain, we've cracked open from compassion, we've cracked open into this, we're starting to crack open into this idea of absolute connection as oneness, so that It's not that we're similar to each other. It's not that we are interdependent with each other. It's that we are all part of the same consciousness. And this consciousness in agreement, my little soul, your little soul, all the souls, we're collectively agreeing upon how things are going to go. So a lot of you are cracking open into this understanding. And this understanding is also where we're starting to have things like more telepathy, for example, which is starting to happen. Not just human to human, human to all conscious beings, which is everything. So this is starting to happen. Now, there is a final fourth opening, this opening of the heart into the love state. And I would say at this point, we're not there yet, but hashtag goals, right? We can attempt to get to that love state. Like you're like, but I feel love. My heart's full of love. Yes, it is, but it's not at that high level of enlightenment where we're gonna be as we evolve as humans. We will be around next lifetime, probably not, maybe this lifetime, who knows, but we will be around to experience that. It's just not here today. Maybe a couple of people on the planet have that, but that level is, it's almost like living in an entirely different dimension. And even those of you who have near-death experience, the most divine healer, the most saint-like being, maybe, but I'm pretty much in that stage of understanding oneness, and that's where I've gotten. And so that's just what I would expect. So let me just read a little bit from this. Again, it's called 4 Passages of the Heart and Moving from Pain into Love. So they talk a lot about, so this was written again like 2010, 9, something like that. So quite a while ago. And I didn't really understand when I was channeling this stuff what it all meant. So group thought can be a means of raising the vibration of collective soul. Okay, at the time of writing, I didn't even know what collective soul was. Anyway, as you know from history, it can also be a means of lowering the vibration. This is spot on where we are right now. Use caution in all group thought, in all cult thought. Understand that electronica creates cults. Electronica. I wonder if that means like the internet and stuff. Know your own mind. How does group thought create cult thought? It is useful to understand that electronica is both a tool for divine and a tool for fear. When you are on electronica today, and that means your phone, your internet, whatever it is, notice what you agree with and then ask yourself, is this really true? Is it absolutely true, or is it just group thought that has captured me? I often wonder, like, why am I doing this? A lot of channel, a lot of YouTube or Spotify or whatever, they're getting tens of thousands of views, like so many views, and they're pulling tarot and I'm fairly captivated, as I said at the beginning. I'm fairly captivated by all that. And I look at my tiny little group of people who are paying attention to what I'm doing. It's like, is it worth it? Is it worth the time or the energy or the exposure? And what I've come up with, aside from the guide saying, don't you, you better keep doing it, is like sometimes we have these smaller voices, or these voices that maybe are slightly ahead of where the main collective is. And I think that's my job, to keep us focusing on this bigger picture of ourselves as beings who are aware, and all that is happening in the world right now. One, it's all happened before. We've all lived through this time and time again in different lifetimes. We've all seen this show. We've seen this movie. Were we in Rome when we saw this last time, or Germany, or where were we when all of this domineering, controlling drama started up? We've all seen this movie before, but the difference this time is we're more conscious. That's the whole key right there. And I'm going to do more of the 4 passages of the heart in a second, but that's the key. We have evolved. And so just like as a person, okay, I have a problem with, not actually me, but say I had a problem with getting with domineering personalities and having struggled to break free of those. So I have that first relationship when I'm maybe a teenager, and then I have another relationship with a dominant person in my 20s, and then I have another one in my 40s, and then I break free of that pattern. And this is what's happening. And because the person I'm using as example, has become more conscious, they've learned the lesson. And once you learn the lesson, you don't have to repeat it. And this is where we are now. We're being faced with the lesson again, which is cult-like behavior, ruling, immature beings trying to take control, fear as the motivating factor of everything. This very quick panic that's starting to happen. But this time we're more conscious. And so we are not going to have the same experience we had in that other lifetime or that other lifetime before. And because of this idea of consciousness recognizing itself, we're going to be able to look around, like those maps of the world where there's little lights on. We're going to be, you and I, working on our spiritual practice, working on this idea of approaching everything from soul perspective. We're going to be able to look around and see, okay, there's a conscious person, there's a conscious person, there's a conscious person. We aren't going to get trapped in that under rumbling of the lower cult, fear, control, old systems that are, again, they're tumbling down. So have some, it's 11:11 as I'm looking at my little clock here. Don't get too wound up right now. Don't get too wound up. What I know from dealing with immature people is that mostly they can't hold it together, right? This is like the very bad boyfriend or the very chaotic person, like they just can't hold it together. So our job is to retain our understanding of what's really happening, which is consciousness is recognizing itself. We are being faced once again with this cult, fear, panic lesson, and this time things are going to be different because our awareness is different. We have grown up, we have experienced abuse and drama and chaos, and we've grown up as souls. And in this lifetime, we're saying no more. And I don't necessarily mean at a political level, because that didn't happen yet. I'm saying that from each of us, there's just no matter what, I will never follow the cult aspect that is the cult of fear and control. I will never shift to that. I have moved beyond that. So I want you to establish that fully in yourself. And if you find that you're getting sucked in by kind of like just a lot of the chatter, oh no, the news, okay, I won't watch the regular news, I'll watch my alternative news. Oh no, conspiracy, like take it all off except for those few reasonable sources that don't bring you, okay, here's the key, that don't bring you fear and anxiety, and start to follow those. Not to avoid anything, not to be not paying attention, but just get yourself out of the chatter so you can think straight and start connecting to your own heart and your own self as a soul. Okay, we're going to be back with more of this. I'm doing a couple extra, what podcasts are these? Episodes to sort of help folks as we move through this particular time. And I'll see you next time.